just, you had no idea that there were processes, procedures, laws, building codes, zoning ordinances that never crossed your mind? You just think you could take a sledgehammer, knock down an existing structure, draw a picture of a house, pour concrete, put up walls, bring in electric, put in plumbing, and that's the way construction happens in a municipality in the 21st century?
Well,
Seriously, just, I mean, you had no idea that there was a building department here, there's a city council, there's a planning commission?
I didn't know it was something I could do with my pay grade.
Explain, that's a different.
I'm not, I'm just doing the best I can do with my resources.
But that's not the question I asked you. The question I asked you was, did you have no idea that there were laws and conditions and permits that needed to be done to put up a structure in a neighborhood?
I just really have no experience, and I didn't have somebody to guide me. I didn't have somebody to explain to me that what an architect can do to help me, or to, even get started. I just knew I needed a place to.
So if your neighbor were putting up a structure with no supervision, no guidance, no fire inspection, that'd be okay with you? That wouldn't bother you? They did the same thing?
Well, I mean, I would assume that they have professionals working with them.
And you didn't? You had no professionals working for you? That was all, you did all that work?
Well, I mean, I hired some guys from Home Depot.
And the guys that you hired, they didn't ask about. So what you're saying is that there was no professional electrician doing the work? Plumbers? You did that?
A lot of it, yeah.
So we can't so we have no idea that this building has is anything up to code, correct? Is that what you're saying? Because you did it and you have no experience in this.
Well, I mean, I had, guys that were, said they knew what they were doing, people.
But you didn't know that. They didn't have a license? No one had a license when they did it? There was no licensing?
I wasn't checking.
You didn't check licenses, so you have no idea that any licensed electrician or plumber or anybody had any, or carpenter did anything on this structure? How are you going to ensure the safety of your family in such a thing?
Well, I'm under the impression, and I was there, through the process. I mean, it's the construction is, I mean, fairly, we oversized everything. It's very.
How do you know if it's oversized if you don't know anything about, if you don't have a license and you don't have any plans?
Who designed the building?
Well, we didn't really have a design. We just.
You don't just start putting sticks together. I mean, I guess you could, but that building was not built just by putting sticks in the ground and seeing what organically comes forth. It was designed by somebody. And if it were you had to search the internet, and you don't search the internet and figure out how to design a building without understanding, there's building codes and there's code requirements and I have to apply for permits and such. I mean, it's unfathomable that you build it yourself and you got enough knowledge to build that building, because it looks pretty well built.
Well,
Let's stay with questions until we get to discussion.
Okay.
So the application now is to make this a recreation building. This was not built as a building for recreation. This was built as another housing unit, correct?
Initially, yes.
It was built as a housing unit, which is not permitted because of starting with parking.
Because of the parking.
Because of the parking.
Yes.
Right? So that's not allowed. So now you're trying to rescue this and turn it into something else. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, we can still.
You're trying to find a use for this building that would not be legal for the reason it was built.
Well, we don't have enough space right now for our family. So this would provide a place that, we could sit down.
Yeah, but you didn't set out to build something like that. You wouldn't have just built a recreation building back there.
With a kitchen.
With a kitchen and two bathrooms.
and two bathrooms.
Let's call it a wet bar. I mean, it was.
Careful about let's call it. Let's be accurate.
Well, I'm like I said, we're just trying to use our property for, as a family, and this building provides the space that we need.
Why given the fact that this was built without any permitting that is required in this city,
Or zoning conformity.
or zoning conformity, why would we think that you wouldn't go back in and rebuild it back to the way it was before into an apartment again?
For rent.
And rent it out?
Well,
I
I'm gonna
mean, you
sign
built the whole
I'm gonna sign
building
an agreement
without
with the
anyone
city
knowing.
It's not going to be used for that purpose.
So you don't rent out any of those apartments? Any of those units?
Well, my brother and his wife and 2 kids live in the front, and then the 2 smaller units. I'm planning to move in there.
But I ask you, you don't rent them, or do you rent them?
Right now.
Right now.
I just currently the 2 smallest houses, they're currently rented. Yes.
They're rented. Do you know that in the city, can I ask staff, is there a business license on file for rental for this property?
No.
So you don't have a business license to rent either?
I didn't know that was.
Can I ask,
A lot.
when you bought this property, how many houses were on it?
3.
Oh, you bought it with all 3 already
Yeah.
there? How
And-
long ago was that?
2012.
Oh, okay.
And how many other buildings were on there besides the 3 houses?
Well, there was the 3 houses, and then the existing laundry room, and there was an office, the small office.
So there were 5 buildings.
The laundry room, did it have that 2-story part when you bought it?
Yes, yes. That was existing. It did have the meters also. The meters were for the laundry room, so it already had an electric meter.
And how many cars, well, I guess you don't live there, right? How many cars does your brother's family and the 2 renters have?
How many cars?
Yes.
My brother, they have 2 cars. They park in the front.
And the renters don't have any cars?
I'm not sure what their parking situation is.
And so you don't know if they have a permit with the police to park overnight on the street?
I'd have to ask them. I'd assume. I mean,
When you go to sleep at night, there's a dirt road that goes down the middle of the property. Are there cars parked on that dirt road?
where's the dirt road? On my property?
Yes, when you go through it, I guess it's a driveway. It looks to me like a little.
No, we don't park back there.
You don't, there's no cars parked there overnight.
Park there normally.
So that's just like a walking thoroughfare?
Walking, yes.
And there's like a parking space in the front, right?
There's two spots in the front.
On the property, okay. But you don't know if the renters have cars or don't have cars?
Well, I never checked with them.
You don't know?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
So you know of 2 cars that belong to your brother, but you don't know of any cars that belong to the renters?
I just rented the unit that I was going to live in to pay for my
So when the renter did the renter fill out a rental application?
yes, I have one.
And did they ask you if it came with a parking space?
She did, and she said she was going to come and get a parking permit from the city, but I didn't follow through on it.
So you would assume if she asked you that question, she probably has a
Probably
car.
has one filed.
So that's one more car. And then what about the other renter?
I think I'm not sure. I know she has a car, but I've never seen it.
So she does have a car.
I don't know where she parks it.
Okay.
But regardless who lives in it right now, there's the potential of 8 cars.
Well, we're 4 right now in actuality, so, right,
Well, we're-
6.
Well, if a couple lives in each one of the 3 houses that are there right now.
No, we have identified 4.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you give any thought, if you're going to have 3 units, of converting one of the smaller units to a recreation room and then using the bigger one as a unit?
No, I mean, I didn't consider that, no.
Okay.
did you hire a structural engineer to design the 2nd story?
I work with some guys at the desk at Ganal.
Pardon me?
I talked to some people at the contracting area.
At the lumber department?
Because you need a structural engineer for this 2nd story
Yeah,
to get it permitted.
I had it done.
Did they have a
Your-
license?
Is your architect or contractor
One
here
question at a
tonight?
time, please.
I'm sorry. Do you have an architect or engineer or contractor here tonight? A professional that can
I have
give
an
us
architect,
insight?
yes.
And
Yes.
Okay, so we can ask him questions?
And also, there was an issue about the side yard. We actually own part of the neighbor's driveway, 4 feet of it. That's why the plans are, that's why the calculation.
So
is
the
actually-
wall that's built on the side yard is entirely on your property,
Yeah,
and you own a portion of what appears to be their yard?
right.
Do you
Okay.
have any proof of
How
that?
would we be able to tell without a
You
survey?
can ask my.
No, you would get a survey. So that's how you
This
would
isn't
tell.
a survey.
So when I Googled, your address and a few things, I did come up with your request to rent your property.
Yeah,
But also, who's Harold?
that's my father.
Is he a contractor?
Yeah, retired.
Yeah, he is a retired contractor. So he's aware of the rules and laws governing the construction of buildings?
Probably, I mean, I haven't,
And he never came around to offer you advice?
not too much, no. He's,
Not too much? But it never came up like, do you have a permit?
well, I bought it with my brother Bob, so we didn't involve him.
And he never, but he's part of the family that you want to have inside this building when you do your family get-togethers for like Thanksgiving and stuff, right? Yeah?
Yeah, he's part of the family.
Yeah? And he's come to the property?
Oh, yeah,
And did he help you construct the building?
not actually construct it, no, but he was,
But he provided you advice?
not construction advice, but but yeah, I mean, he's, he said he's my dad, so he's aware of, I'm sure, what we were doing.
Is his license still active in the state of California?
I believe so, yes.
Any other questions for the applicant?